Hey everybody, welcome to the Hex Guild. All kinds of shit is going through my head. Does everybody want to fuck up the system today? I do. We've got some guests. What is up? Dude, that's awesome. Hex Rock Star, welcome. You're muted right now. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Daraj, what's up?
Nothing much. We had so many things to discuss. Let's let's just start, I
All
guess.
right.
I would like Hex Rockstar to give us a small intro about himself. Just say hi to the group and who you
Yeah,
are,
can you hear me
maybe.
okay?
Or
Yes.
yep,
Audio good? Sound
Mm-hmm.
good? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
all good.
So, I am a day one Hexican. I am originally from Italy. I lived in London for a few years, and a year and a half ago, I escaped to a more crypto friendly jurisdiction. Not gonna say where, somebody knows, but I'm gonna keep it quiet for now. That's it. What else? I work in the movie industry. I've started following the Hex Foodies group because I suffered from some autoimmune conditions a few years ago and I almost completely recovered. So, if there's one thing that I care about these days is functional medicine and promoting healing chronic conditions with diet and supplementations and this kind of stuff.
That's wonderful. I'm very happy to hear of your success story.
It's still, there's still a few things to iron out and things I have to
Mm-hmm.
discover. I'm gonna have to work with a professional, but right now it's manageable. It's almost normal, right?
Good deal. So, did you have some stream ideas for us?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, the reason for the setup is because if there's one thing that I'm good at doing is overdoing. But I haven't been on a stream since I appeared once on Hexy Bastards stream, but that was almost 2 years ago.
The
So
bastard, yeah.
yeah, I just thought of showing off, flexing some videos and lights,
Looks great,
and
man.
jumping on.
Looks great. Yeah, and then you spread out your arms and it's okay. So like now
Yeah,
you've got like blue from the back. Yeah. That's
yeah.
awesome. You got a guitar like in the area?
Oh, you don't see behind me, but there's a bunch of amps and guitars.
Oh, it looks like the star sky. That's what it looks like. We don't really have
Yeah,
definition
yeah.
with it.
I made sure that everything is blacked out and you don't see much of
Okay.
my shit.
Diraj, do you have anything for us to go on to?
Uh, First of all, I would like to thank Run of Tea for suggesting the title of that stream, which is the third tax. We'll get into discussing that in a little bit. The hidden tax we all pay on our health and in general our society as a whole. But that's how I came up with the thumbnail for it. I hope you guys liked it, and you know, I can go deeper into the meaning of it, like the fox charging the hens a tax for living, but it's a fox in a suit. It's funny. I don't want to go too deep into it. Uh,
So
yeah.
you called it the third
Uh,
tax? The third tax meaning health?
y- yes. Like yes, and
Okay.
doesn't it, like, when you see, I'll give you the best example I thought of. If you are a permaculturist, because this is relevant to us, like, those who do organic farming, we are paying a hidden tax. Like, we have to pay to get our food certified that it is organic, which makes it more expensive than the non-organic stuff. So by that itself, people are deprived of good food, which indirectly helps our pays like affects our health. So you end up paying more for healthcare, which the healthcare again that is taxed, and the tax dollars go into funding research for drugs, which they then push on you, which cause other side effects, for which you have to pay for more. So it's kind of negative loop is it's what I think it is. Uh, so one of the ways of getting out of it is permaculture, and I think was it Marcus who sent you the cheese wheels, which
Cheese.
were yeah, they were kind of certified organic, I guess, but not really fully organic. But
They
it's
weren't
good enough to
organic,
freeze. They,
and I
yeah,
sent
but
them. I bought more and I sent them over to Paul Wheaton's place, and immediately Paul Wheaton asked, "Is this stuff organic? We don't see organic labeling." And I was like, "Oh shit! I completely forgot." Because they're on the premises. They try to limit everything to organic, and then further into the 200 acres that he has, he wants more and more limitations of the outside world to where people shed cancer. Hopefully, they're
yeah,
at the deepest.
yeah, so
And
yeah, so
and
that's what I was getting at. It's like you have to do so many things to get uh, organic certification, that I know of some farms that do organic like growth, but they don't go for the certification. They just sell it as is. But I think I messed up the example. So, anyways, that's enough of me rambling. We maybe let's go through chat. Thank our regular listeners, all seven of them. uh, Marcavelli, Bisot, Hexonair, Finbear. Finbear, his computer or is trying to contact the mothership, so he will be joining us in a little while, I guess. And Red Squirrel with his what you call slogan, "Oi oi." um, and we have Hexwood and Raymond Carrillo. If I messed up the pronunciation, don't blame me. That's the fault of English itself. There are no side effects, only effects. Well, let's not go into the semantics of it. As long as you know what I'm talking about, it should suffice.
hey, Rockstar, do you get good organic food over there? What are the challenges?
Am I muted? No. I'm not really sure. The problem is where I am at the moment, the local population doesn't speak English fully. So it's a bit of an issue to find out really what's going on. All I know is that I eat a lot of meat here, and the meat is very lean. Like, has very little fat in the middle of the muscle. So I'm assuming that it's not corn finished. It's probably grass fed and grass finished fully. It's hard to chew sometimes. Thing is, when I moved here, I met some expats that tried to explain me, what were the issues here, how to get around things.
Some expatriates?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they told me that one particular chain of supermarkets has the monopoly of the distribution of meat, but they're local farms, and so it should be good. And then I spoke to a local guy, and he said that it's not true, but it's imported from Brazil. So it's a bit, I don't know. I haven't researched it fully because I didn't quit my job. I'm still working remotely. So it takes, it doesn't give me enough time to try and find this stuff. And also when you meet the language barrier, it's a bit frustrating. But I discovered that there is an online store that sells premium meat here, like Wagyu and all that kind of stuff and also meats from South America, which I'm gonna try at some point because I do like a good steak, and when it's hard to chew, it sort of takes away the pleasure of it. But also the fruit and vegetables, there's very limited choice. This is a country that imports pretty much everything. It's a very little country, very small. The population is very small as well. Pretty much for me, it's a big compromise between zero taxation on crypto and freedom and all these kinds of problems. But you get by. There's a lot of expatriates living here. We help each other. You can find a lot of information on Facebook groups, and I'm sure it's gonna get better slowly. I've been here only 1 year and a half almost, and I'm still learning things.
So you've been there for a year and a half. What sort of family relation stuff has happened because of you being out of your normal environment?
Well, my family lives in Italy, and I was living in the UK, in London, for many years, so I'm always been away from home anyway. So there wasn't actually, I'm closer to home than before.
All right.
Especially climate-wise. I'm just gonna say Mediterranean, and that's gonna be it. Hey, Finbear.
Good to see you, man.
We forgot.
Dude, you look like a rock star. Like, for
That's the
once,
whole point.
The name and the backdrop fits together like freaking white and rice. That's like
The voice too.
amazing.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got in the chin.
Yeah.
You got everything.
Yeah, there's a few tricks
Dude,
going on here.
I'm gonna have to ask you to stand up and let me see if you're wearing leather trousers.
Yeah,
Because
leather
that would fucking
No,
seal the
that's
deal.
something that I can't do because I'm definitely the mullet version of a mullet here. Is like I'm not wearing any shoes and I'm wearing shorts, But imagine that I'm wearing ripped trousers
Oh,
and cowboy boots.
I'm
Because I definitely
imagining-
have those, but
yeah.
it's in my
Absolutely.
bedroom.
Yeah. I can almost hear like a guitar solo going off in the background, like doing the Malmsteen style.
Yeah,
How's everybody doing?
can't complain.
Yeah, I like to complain, but yeah, it's the same. I can't anymore. I'm just feeling the pain with the rest of you guys. Oh man, the chickens are going wild. I don't know who owns them, but they're wreaking havoc in my yard when they get out of their cage. They're in like everywhere, apple trees and like they dig everything up. Am I cutting off or is it just Eco Builder?
It's all good.
I see you moving. I see I'm moving. But it looks like Davin is frozen.
Yay!
There he is.
It wouldn't be a
Dude.
good day without that happening. So I
Yeah.
took a picture of my my tower here, and I said like, "Hey, I told my computer guy, hey, are these fans supposed to be moving in the inside?" And he's like, "Oh, they're for show." It's like we've been talking about how everything's overheating or possibly. So
Yeah.
he told me to download something in order to track the data, and then I'll take a screenshot of it and send it to him. But I feel sorry for the guy. He's he's having to do all sorts of things to just make a living. But he's an upstanding person whenever you have a conversation with him about computers or about something that he wants to be a professional in. So
Yeah.
just
So what
dealing
did
with
you
shit.
want to talk about? You wanted
Well,
to break shit up. You had something in mind.
yeah, dude. All right, so I have a new idea of how to reach people. So outside here, somebody had um, discarded some trash, maybe, and so this was a local paper, and I saw on the outside of that, it talked about taxes being increased throughout the county, and so I took that paper and brought it in here to take a closer look at it. And then there on that same page talking about taxes increasing, there was something talking about the drought that we've been experiencing here. I haven't had rain for like 3 months now. And it's
Oh
been
wow.
100 plus degrees Fahrenheit. Um, except for like the last 2 days, we've had a little bit of moisture moving over, but not any dropping. So temperatures are starting to cool here in September. Um, so I follow the drought article into the middle of the newspaper, and then opposite page of that, I see that there are letters to the newspaper. You know, letters to the editor, or statements. You know, public announcements and stuff that people wanted to put. And I start looking through there to see if there's anybody talking about like, hey, we've got water issues because of the drought. Because I want to talk about, hey, we've got problems with weather modification. They're not giving us any water. So then I go to like for some reason I didn't pay attention to the first person who had gotten like a really long letter published right here in the front. And that guy I know from 10 years ago, who was a part of, like, whenever I came back to town in 2012, I started setting up community gardens with a church that I was baptized in. And then the people in the church asked me to be a part of an organization that was called the Bishop's Call, because they wanted to respond to things that the bishop inside of the Methodist Church was flagging as important things in society to pay attention to worldwide. So then I introduced the Bishop's Call to these other people who wanted to create this council, or this group of people who were concerned about ecology. So they called it the Interfaith Eco Network of Georgetown. This is Georgetown. So these are environmentally concerned people of all different churches coming together and having a presentation here and a presentation there. Well, they ended up so there's a university, a very liberal university down the street from me, and like it's a part of the reasons why we have some bad situations out on the streets. So I run into these people all the time, these confused people that continue to get a free education in order for their indoctrination here at this private university that's supposed to be a Methodist university, but they don't have any Christian classes or anything. So I knew that there was an environmental studies portion at this university. And there's this guy named Professor Long, who's kind of a younger guy. All the girls have crushes on him, and he already has a beautiful wife. So I see them around town and stuff, and I'd mingled with him because of permaculture stuff. So like every once in a while, there was something that intertwined with the university. Anyway, I knew this guy. I asked a person inside of the group to go and ask him to do a presentation. So he does a presentation in the sanctuary of the Methodist Church that I was baptized in. And he was very honest. So like whenever it came down to it, this guy was honest. He showed the whole like up and down of the temperature. However, there was a mean line, and the mean line did not go up. Instead, it just stayed steady. So this was the argument against global warming. Everybody in the audience was taken by surprise. They were like, "What? You're telling us that there isn't any global warming? Oh my goodness."
So when
Everybody
when
was
did this
freaked
happen?
out. This was
When
like
did this
10 years
happen?
ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So then,
Yeah.
whenever I'm sitting there looking at the paper, and this guy wrote in a letter to the paper saying he praises these young people up in Montana for putting forward some legislation that did not get adopted, but putting it forward about global warming and the need to decrease fossil fuels and increase electric vehicles. He was praising them and saying like, "Oh, the future is like we shouldn't leave the future up to our kids and stuff." And here we are, baby boomers, haven't done our we're leaving the world to whatever. This guy has already been preached to, has already been shown that global warming doesn't exist by 10 years ago. So I want to just outright call him a liar. I want to get him on the phone and just say, "What the fuck have you been doing for the last decade? Like, have you been spreading this shit everywhere?" Because I disbanded from this group because I had to pay attention to finances. I was going broke as I was working in a coffee shop as retired from corporate world and helping out with community gardens all the time, trying to recycle resources and host work parties, whether it was with the university or with the juvenile justice locally and stuff. I had to let all that stuff go while I tried to figure out better avenues of money. So like this 10 years ago. So all that, and I'm sorry I haven't really had time to comb out my words for this, but what I'm realizing is that anybody who writes into the paper is an outspoken citizen. And so, and they sign it down at the bottom with whatever name they want to go by. And they have,
I was gonna ask, can you write using an alias or
they
just a
have their
pseudonym or
street
something?
name there. They don't have their address. They have their street name. Well, just if they offer their last name, just take their last name and go to the county tax records that are all online and just type that in and go and look for the street name, and boom, that's them. So I can write all of these outspoken, concerned citizens about the things that we care about: cryptocurrencies, false climate change, availability of real food, and just
writing your
raising their consciousness.
Yeah, but you could also write your own letter to the editor.
It won't get published. It won't make it there.
Do you think so?
The shit is skewed. So what can you deal? It's sort of like, on Twitter, like you can't, you couldn't be highlighted by these people who are posting this one thing, but you can interact with the people in the comments in order to spur them to a better position. So my plan is to have it to where like I'm not going to be anonymous, and I'm going to give them imagery. So I'll print off some color pieces of paper, and I'll write a letter on the back side of it saying, "Hey, I'm just a person that's concerned about the world as well. And have you heard about this? Have you heard about that?" The same things that I've been doing for Richard Hart. Have you heard about Richard Hart? Have you thought about getting into crypto? Here's a great guy for you to start following and earmarking. Yeah, so that was just an idea that I had recently, or something that I've come across and started working on. Then,
That's a great idea.
Thank you. Then just recently, Philip Banks has been sending out some of the new postcards to people, and then the extras that don't make it into the mail, like he'll print off like say 5,000, and then he'll only send out like 4,600. So those extra 400 need to go somewhere, right? So he sent me some of them just recently. So I now have in my hands some of the new postcards that have been going out.
They look
This
freaking awesome.
this is the postcard that won the competition whenever we had a design competition just recently.
That is so cool.
So I'm hoping to put this on windshields in the Austin area. Maybe we'll have a meetup.
What about the calling card size?
So I
That
don't have the
looked
calling
awesome.
card size. Instead, we've got the movie poster calling card size. So this is what the movie poster one looks like.
Do you know if he had contact with the production team regarding the imagery and stuff?
I think Kinetics was inside the postcard group whenever it was that we were ironing out this design.
Yeah,
And
that looks very cool.
it was Victor Hex Fan Network that was spearheading to make sure that we got this design out and that we sent it out to people. So the hundreds or thousands of dollars that it took to mail them out to people, Victor Hex Fan Network is responsible for that. And
good job, Victor. Thank you.
Yeah. And then these small ones, I'll make sure to get them out to everybody who's already given me addresses, which is 215 hexagons.
That's pretty amazing if you think about it. Like, if everybody gives out the stuff that you sent them, like you can do these bursts where you can, even though not necessarily directly, but you can reach like thousands of people with the stickers and the calling cards and stuff, and you can do it whenever.
Yeah. So anybody think about that. If you have something that you print out in mass, you could send it to me and I could get it to little tiny hubs of hexagons. Boom. Real fast.
Yeah. Have you updated the hexagon map you have, where all over the world where you've sent stuff?
I did, but I haven't retweeted.
Yeah,
and
you
we're
should.
still without a hexagon in New Hampshire, I believe.
Yeah. So
I don't
that's the
know
only.
what's up with that.
Is it the only state that's missing a hexagon?
I think there's a second state, but I can't remember it.
What's wrong with you people of New Hampshire?
Right?
Come on, man.
And there's supposed to be like the whole like garden
Freedom.
freedom, back to the land type people, libertarian.
Maybe they're not online. Maybe that's the problem. We need to go there. We need to send Hex Rockstar there to get all the ladies.
Send the tour bus
Dude.
right up there.
Yeah.
So
we should pay a visit in the US again at some point.
I also have another success story that's related to this, and I haven't brought this on stream yet. Just last night, I met with the Austin Bitcoiners, and we do this virtually every Tuesday, and so I've been a steady guest with their online stuff. Hey, Crypto Girl.
Hello. I was just thinking about you. I don't know what's going on here, man. I swear. I didn't do it on purpose. Listen to my squeaky chair. It's like I'm like zombie. My chair is squeaky and my elbows are pointy.
So I've been a steady hexagon inside of this Bitcoin space. And this was from when the price was like 12 cents. And so I've just given them updates, and then, you know, Richard and the lawsuit and everything. But so I think it's important that we do outreach and that we show the world that we exist and that we're intelligent people. The crypto world, that is, you know, use the technology to our advantage, right? So last night there was a huge surprise. This guy that's over in Sarasota, Florida, he created this storefront that's called like bin crypto or Bitcoin bin or something like that, in order to have it to where like people have a storefront that they can go and get information about Bitcoin and other cryptos. And so somehow I found him online and I sent him mail just out of nowhere. I was just like, hey, if you haven't looked at Hex and Richard Hart, please do. And I sent him a bumper sticker, a bunch of these smaller stickers, and whatever else, business cards and all sorts of stuff. And so this guy just pops up out of nowhere, and I kind of like recognize the interior of his place that's in the background, because that's what you do when you're on Google. You look at Google Images and check out what a place has. And so he's like, hey, Hex.com fellow, like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, hey man, did you get any mail? He's like, oh, that's you. So just serendipitously, like, this guy shows up in an Austin, Texas area Bitcoin meetup virtually, and then
it was a virtual meetup.
It was a virtual meetup.
Yeah.
So
cool.
So get out there, because the occurrences, the sooner that you can do outreach, the sooner some serendipitous feedback can come back to you. And so, yeah, we instantly made friends. He talked good about Richard Hart. That was the only person besides myself that's been on that stream that's ever talked good about Richard Hart. Instead, they're all just sitting there waiting for the lawsuit outcome.
Yeah, that's fucking lame. Like, you can make up your mind about somebody without the SEC. Like, I think. But,
right.
But what do I know?
But these guys, there's a whole mix of people there, and the guy who runs it, his name's Paul Snow, and he's out of Austin, and he's interacted with a lot of people in crypto because he's been doing this meetup ever since 2013.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he's old school.
Yeah.
That's when I got into Bitcoin, actually, like late October 2013.
Paul is one of those guys that will say, like, I've had a lot of Bitcoin before, but I used it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I know those guys.
In it for the tech.
Yeah. Yeah, guys that paid like 3 Bitcoin for a cup of coffee and a donut.
So if anybody wants to look,
fun.
If y'all want to look up this guy, Bitcoin Bin, Sarasota, Florida, you'll see his storefront. And then last night he told us that he's international with these storefronts, and he's also going to have them in different states as well. So this might be a person that, like.
So is he doing this stuff out of pocket?
Really
does he have anything like in the background there, like creating some kind of turnover to cover the costs, or does he do it out of pocket?
He has some sort of a fund, a trust fund or something.
Yeah, cool. So it's not like a money issue for him to have a storefront somewhere.
It's multiple people, but he's the face of it. And he kind of looks like an Asian Latin mixture. I haven't asked him, like, what's your genetics? But I think he's out of, like, Central America. I think that's where he was born.
Interesting. Was it you, Diraj, who shared the video about Burning Man?
Which one?
The one that was
Yes, yes,
talking about Ukraine. Man, what a ritual
yes.
that was! I I didn't know I didn't know all that stuff that went on before the event, but they had like an eternal flame burning for Ukraine during the Burning Man thing. And it just happened that there was a Ukrainian opera singer who came there to sing some Ukrainian songs. And yeah, the guy who funded the Phoenix statue is Secretary of Defense for Ukraine. And while they're at war, he spends his days in Burning Man doing some weird rituals with you guys over there. That is some weird shit.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, we are at the
that
time
is. Yeah,
where
these are
we should
strange times.
we should ask if there are any human sacrifices in any of these rituals that we see in
There
places
was somebody
or
died
at that
there.
time.
Somebody died
Right.
at Burning Man, but they don't say what he died of or when. But there was one casualty during the flood stuff.
And then because of that death, then people are looking back at like, okay, who died the years before? And there's always been one person at least that dies. And one time this story stuck out for me. One time there was this guy who just like ran straight into the fire.
That yeah, there's
He did-
always one freaking kooky bastard over
Yeah.
there wants to go out with a bang. But the thing that is kind of surprising to me is the pentagram on the ground, like that goes across the entire field. Like, how can people not see where they're staying? Everybody's living inside the fucking pentagram. Like, come on, you guys, can't you see where you're putting your tents up? Like,
So the temporary layout of the temporary urban is created in a pentagram, you're saying?
there's a pentagram like outside of the layout where people sleep.
Okay.
Like, you need to go pretty far above the area to see it in an aerial photo. It's not like this. I think it's kind of like a semicircle which is pointed at the Burning Man, which is at the center, as it has to be a good ritual. And people don't need to understand that they're a part of the ritual for the ritual to be like effective.
Indeed, you just need
They're
to give it your energy.
if you're just observing it, that's enough for the ritual to be effective. So that, like, that's weird stuff. Now that mom's out of the house today, I've had some really interesting talks with the kids. We spoke about, like, we talked about do people have souls, and does God exist, and like, man, we spoke about like they're like 11 turning 12 and two 10-year-olds, and they had like some really really good opinions, but I have to admit that still blowed their mind a bit because they've not been baptized. I've never been baptized. I was just named like a dog. They signed some paperwork and sent it to the man. So I've never had like a connection to any churches or anything. But at least I took part in like the religious education when I was a kid, up until I started asking too many questions in class, and the teacher said that it might be a good idea for you to take the other thing that is for the non-religious kids. And I was like, oh, whatever. But these kids of mine, they've never like they've been to churches only on weddings and funerals, and I'm starting to think that it's a big mistake not to take them there to let them see what it actually is, because they like it's a huge part of our culture and our community. And like, even though you're not necessarily an active member in any church, it's still like reasonable for everybody to understand where we come from and like what people around us believe, so that you can like decide for yourself. I don't want to be the guy that just teaches their kids that there's no God, and like Matt says on Crypto Heartbeat, that you're just a monkey that learned how to count, and when you die, that's it. Like that is like completely like a hopeless thing to teach to your kids. In particular, like my mom is on her last legs. I will be amazed if she makes it past October. Like, she is really, like, every time I see her, she's like a few kilos lighter and a couple of shades more gray. And like, of course, I've had to go through this for like since last Christmas. I've had to think about these things a lot, and I've really appreciated like Ken Wheeler from Theoria Apopasi's channel, where he talks about the soul and the possibility that actually like the water molecules in our body are like the smallest antenna there can be, because it's only like 3 atoms big. But if you look at the angle in which the hydrogen and the oxygen are connected, the the angle is the same perfect symmetry that you need for if you want to build a really effective antenna using just like 2 copper wires. You put the angles into like you make like a triangle that has what was it, like 32 degrees on the sharp points and like 106, I don't know, 130 degrees something on the bottom. But it's the same angle that the molecules make. So maybe our maybe the water in our body is like the antenna that feeds our consciousness, or like our soul into our understanding. And what if, like, this is what I spoke to my kids about, like, what if when a person dies, it's not like the signal doesn't disappear, but what if just the radio breaks, and you can't just receive the channel that you used to know as grandma, but the signal is still there. We just are missing the device that can connect to that said signal. And there's a lot of stories where you can you can find these stories of people who've had organ transplants, and after they're healed and they're home, and a short while after the transplant, they start to have memories and recollections of things that they're sure that have happened, but they haven't happened to them. And once they dig into it, they discover that it's actually the person whose eye you have, or it's the guy whose kidney you have. He was the one who saved the kid from drowning. And that's the thing that you remember, which is like weird. And I was like, maybe that would explain like those weird like ghost memories. Maybe it's because you have an organ transplant where the cells are from a different person, so you kind of have like a competing antenna inside your body which is feeding that consciousness into your system, and that's why you're experiencing things that happen to the other guy. I don't fucking know. I'm just a dude, but this is what we spoke about with the kids today.
Dude, that was beautiful. I don't know if everybody else
Yeah.
like that. You just blessed us. What up,
Cheers,
Duraj?
man.
What did you want to say, Duraj? The doctor who wants to take everything
No, I
down to
was like,
doctorhood.
No, no.
Doctor Doom.
There are so many things to say, but I prefer not to. Just like what I believe, we are all part, or we are all stardusts. We After we are dead, we become stardust again. So that's
Yeah,
okay.
eventually that's true.
That's the and it's better not to think about these things. Think about the present we are facing, and all the bad things that are happening right now.
I'm gonna put you in a chokehold if I ever see
Inflation.
you. I'm gonna put you in a chokehold. So I too have
uh,
been
uh,
on this path
you
of
know, I am
like
very
our
sim
cells are receptors. Like all of this makeup medium vibrates, and our cells vibrate to a certain amount, and we pick up. Um, let's see. Let's say the universe creates a wave, and then it finds everything, right? But it finds us, and we are the antenna that makes the solid,
Yeah, yeah,
which is just a different way of exactly what he was just saying. So that's why it spoke so deep to me.
On
yeah.
a
And
related
I
note, actually, I tried to ground myself with a wire a few months ago
Okay.
after reading about it and many times. Electrically, something does happen. You become more negative by like half a volt or something like that. But I can't really say if I felt a difference. And I tried to do it while I was sleeping as well. I'm not sure if I was sleeping better or not.
So how did you do that? You had a wire that was in the ground over here, and then you brought it to your bed and like laid on it.
Yeah, and I bought one of those anti-static bracelets that you have to wear when you work on electronics.
yeah,
That comes with a wire and a button, and I just clipped the wire to a longer wire, and I bought a plug at the hardware store. I just removed the hot pins, and I kept the ground ones just to be sure.
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't
You don't
fry
want to
myself. Yeah,
electrocute yourself.
so I clipped
This
those
is
off,
interesting. I
and
wonder what this does. And bite on the wire.
yeah,
Wrong ones. God damn it.
yeah, and I kept it next to my bed, and I was using it until I don't know, for a month between June and July. But now I completely forgot to do it, and I was trying to do it while I was working at my desk as well. But I wasn't
Yeah.
really sure if it was like allowing me to lower my stress levels or.
Well,
But
that's
it does
one thing that
something.
yeah one thing that happens in a sauna is when you heat it up, when the rocks radiate heat into the environment, it also creates like more negatively charged particles in the like the local atmosphere, which creates like a sense of relaxation when you're in there. So it sort of creates a negative atmosphere, which creates a positive ambience, if that makes any sense.
Right.
David, I also have sheets that you plug into the prong of the outlet, but you also have to test the outlet first to make sure that that it's doing it appropriately. And
Well,
then
I'm sure if the whole house is grounded properly, all the
Yeah, it
outlets are
should.
connected to the same ground at some point. But you can buy a multimeter and check yourself. You know, just put the black pin on the ground and the red pin on your fingers, and you're gonna see that you're going like slightly above zero. And as soon as you ground yourself, it's gonna be slightly below zero. But don't electrocute yourself.
and hey, Besso, the Bitcoin bin that I'm talking about is not the Bitcoin bin that is that older gentleman who travels around in his RV and spreads the gospel of Bitcoin.
Oh, do you mean the guy who was heavy into Litecoin back in 2017, 18?
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
talking about Litecoin
that dude.
Ben. Yeah,
That dude is so out of it. Like I
I met
followed him.
him.
I
I met
followed him. Yeah, I followed him in like 2017, 20 like still early 2018. But then he started to get his like he started to receive the secret messages from like what's about to happen with Litecoin type of stuff, and I was like, oh my fucking god, I can't take this anymore. Like it's so difficult. Like as I grow older, I'm less and less afraid of telling people that I don't fucking know. Like I'm happy to take a guess, but I can't say I know a lot of things. There's very little that I can say that I know for a fact, but there's a lot of things that I can say that I don't know about these things, and Bitcoin Pen seems to be quite like the polar opposite, where it felt like he was the purveyor of the hidden information, which is so annoying.
Yeah, usually I don't listen to people who speak in absolutes, right?
there we are.
Yeah, it's often it's not the most productive place to be, like philosophically, if you want to test out different ideas and like different scenarios in your mind. It's really difficult if you believe you already know all the answers, because then you just start to confirm your earlier beliefs.
About a
Yeah,
year
and
and a
plus
half
it's
ago, I mentioned probably on this stream or another stream that I had met him and Jack Spearco out at a place called Float Fest, where SJ and Dr. Giggles met me out there. Um, and yeah, so I got to talk with him just a little bit. And so he was traveling around with his RV, just living a good life.
Did
You
he
remember
have
when I met
his?
Jack Spearco? Remember that?
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was that same time.
Did he have his? What was the coffee company that he always spoke about? Quick Drip or something. He had this huge cup. Quick Drip, Quick Drip. I need
He
to be
most definitely
sponsored
had a
by.
huge cup, but I think it
Yeah,
was more soda.
yeah. But I saw him like wearing like a woman's dress or something. I think he lost a bet or something, and like he was cheerleading the the other team, the team he didn't like because he lost the bet, and I was like, this is enough. I don't ever want to see that guy again. Hey, Moon Boys.
Hey, Moon Boys. Marcavilli says grounding
Uh,
is good. Rockstar, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
I know it's okay. I was actually going to say, speaking about outreach, I found out just today that there is a libertarian group in this country, and they have a little settlement, and they actually have their own economy based on a euro stable coin, and that it's working on stellar lumens. And I think I'm going to check it out. They have a meetup in about 10 days.
Yeah,
And because Stellar Lumens sucks, I can't figure out how to buy their asset to make a donation. I was thinking about doing, buying a VIP ticket, funding gym style, and meet the organizers that way and try to get a feeling of the situation. I haven't told anybody that I'm in crypto here because for the whole year and a
security.
half I try to be low profile. But I'm starting to get comfortable to speak about it a little bit and see what happens. The problem is that in Telegram group, I already saw people that where their nickname is like Bitcoin Lord and brackets crypto equals scam. So I'm gonna have to face some moxies there.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I
they're
would think
they're,
that some of
they're
these
probably
groups,
broke as hell.
Possibly.
like
Yeah.
these Bitcoiners that I meet up with every week, or yeah, So these Bitcoiners locally, they meet up every week, but the libertarians and other freedom cell type things, they meet up once a week or once a month. So the the Texit, the folks that the Texan token was sponsoring, they meet up once a month. So I would think that most things meet up once a month.
I'm gonna probably have to start doing something over here. Like we're pretty soon we're in a situation where it's gonna be really difficult to even begin to organize any kind of grass movement uh, stuff because like ground level stuff because like they're really pushing for the CBDCs here like heavy. Lagarde was talking about it in India. She was talking about introducing digital identification stuff and electronic, like the vax information and all that crap that we've been speaking about for the past 2 years. She was talking about it like we need to get that thing up and running like next week.
So at some point last year, I said, okay, I need to figure out who thinks the same as me, who is toward freedom in my local area. So I just started being a part of all sorts of groups, and they're on Telegram. You can communicate, through everybody's got a website. Send out emails, be a part of their email list. Everybody, all the organizers, that's top of their list is to create an email list. So you'll constantly have emails coming in inviting you to things. There was just this point where it was just like, okay, I need to figure out who do I stream with, who do I jive with here in my area.
Yeah, it sounds like that's what I have to start working on.
And there's
As
going to
well.
be people in there that are just there to try to like sell their product.
Yeah,
But there's
yeah.
going to be folks who are like, hey, I need help building my greenhouse. So like, are there any willing bodies? And then through that, you'll meet their family and you'll be invited to their church and for dinner and just on and on and on with growing community.
You guys want to hear a quick joke before we come into the full hour? Do you guys know what a 6.9 is?
An earthquake?
No, it's the perfect sex position ruined by a period.
Okay, guys, come on. We gotta have some
Oh,
goals. Oh, goodness.
that was
All
pretty
right.
good. I just remembered
Pretty good.
my mate called me yesterday and he was already laughing when he started to tell me the joke. I was like, oh man, this has got to be good.
Well, Duraj, do we have any more housekeeping to do before we get maybe Hex Rockstar to sign us off?
Well, I just wanted to say I'm actually going to Australia next month to meet the Hexicans in Sydney.
Oh man.
I'm gonna stay
If you
there
see
2
if you
weeks.
see if you see Adam Stokes, give him a high five from me. I'm gonna go and meet him next year. He is an awesome guy. He's already promised that he's gonna stream with us. We just need to set up the dates and times. But please
Yeah, if I
continue.
see him, I'll certainly do. Or I'll jump on stream when he's on stream as well.
Yes. Even better. Even better.
Housekeeping, Duraj.
Nothing left to do in housekeeping as such. Just yeah, if you found this live stream useful or informative or entertaining, please be sure to like and subscribe. And if you are already subscribed, please make sure that you have the notification bell checked, because I have a feeling our channel is shadow banned, but it or it could be just the bear market blues. Fewer people watching hex streams because everybody is looking after their own new coin they have found. But
They
yeah,
found it. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so that's about it. The This was just kind of a teaser. The real fun happens in the Telegram group. uh, we will all see you there. Join us, and as the intro says, don't grind, organize. um, let's organize something very beautiful. With that, I will play our outro, the Hexico in Zanzibar.
The vision is to create the dream community, a retreat center, eco-village, sports facility, festival ground, to just really create the most beautiful place on earth.
So I'm taking on my biggest project ever, and I'm looking for the right people to embark on this journey with me. Thus far, I've been investing the amount of resources I have into this, and together with a small team of dedicated people, we've been able to get water access, electricity is being set up, and the first bungalow is due to be finished in a couple of weeks. And that's just the beginning. And Zanzibar is the perfect place to do this. Both because it's the most stunningly wonderful, tropical, exotic paradise, but also because there's so much potential to help the local community who are craving to enjoy the same opportunity as the rest of the world. Like proper co-working spaces with computers connected to the internet, professional sports talent development centers, proper waste management system. There will be retreats, workshops of different kinds, movie theater, lookout tower, basketball court, tennis court, football court, and natural coral rock pools, sustainable agriculture, music studio, podcasting studio, acrobatic park, yoga platforms. You know, a place to develop talent and creativity in all shapes and forms, in a free place in the middle of nature, in tune with earth, you know, as it should be. It's about giving value, it's about seeing the value we all inhabit, and it's about creating a new beginning in a society where we've forgotten who we are. I believe the future is held by those who come together in love, who understand that we are so connected, that we ultimately are one, and create from there, from the grassroots, where we have decided our own rules.
Pode chamar,